Still the foot.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian.
Because you always use that active red light defending. I think it's like. Because you always use that active red light defending. I think it's like. Because you always use that active red light defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
As the man just said there, what more can I say? People deluded, I'm back again. I've got two Arsenal fans. I've got Gooner, I've got Shirley. Let's actually start there. Shirley, you're making your debut on the platform, man. Let the people them know who you are, what you do, and all them things there, man.
Okay, hey everyone. So I'm Shirley.
Shook, man. Speak up, man. I can't hear you.
Can you guys not hear me?
I can hear you, but project your voice, man.
Okay.
Something nervous,
hey guys, I'm Shirley. Okay, cool. So this is my first time doing this.
Come on.
Ignore Deluded. Yeah, so about me, I'm a writer. I write about African history and culture, tradition and stuff like that. But yeah, big Arsenal fan. So if you know me on like social media, I'm always talking about Arsenal as well, and following the club and the team. So yeah, happy to be here.
Make sure you follow that, man. And Gooner, I mean, I know you, but it's only common courtesy that you get to talk your thing.
Yeah, listen, man, you know
Oh, what's happened there? Is he frozen? Or have I frozen? Yo. Can anyone hear him or is it just me?
I can hear, but like lightly.
Yeah, man, I think you got to project your bass of your voice or something, bro. So I think something's up with the mic still.
You don't hear me?
Just it's faint still. Yeah, he's technical difficulties, but yeah, Shirley, might as well ask you. I've never got to ask you. First things first, how are you feeling the season's gone?
I'll be honest, it's actually better than I expected. Like,
why?
I'm one of those fans that beginning of this season, end of last season, I didn't envision the team to be where we are now. So yeah, I think I was thinking about like an analogy before, like if someone had told me, you know, would you take third behind City and Liverpool at the start of the season, I probably would have said yeah. So yeah, really happy with how it's gone and how it's going. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Arteta and has it changed? Because obviously he's had back-to-back eighth. Now I don't look at the league table personally, but allegedly we're in a title challenge. We're flying high. You know, we're in April and we're probably in the Champions League. Like, what have you got to say about Arteta?
Are we not in the title challenge?
Define what a title challenge is.
Really, man, don't listen to him, man.
Don't listen to him. What is a title challenge? In many ways, being better than you was yesterday is a title challenge. I don't know.
No, listen.
I learned from Arsene Wenger. You can't catch me, man. Lee's been trying for time.
Arteta's doing really well. Look, last season I think I was on board. By the time like we got over that hump of losing those first 3 games at the start of the season and we started to get a bit comfortable, started to build up the squad, I think last season I was on board. But yeah, season before that I would have said get him out. But now I think he's doing really well. I think that our patience has paid off. You know, this whole rebuild, this whole project thing, I think we're now starting to see what he was telling us that he was going to do at the start when he came in. And yeah, for me, it's nothing but respect for him now.
What has changed for you then? Because you mentioned it, you know, you would have, you know, at a point, and I think many fans, me included, we can only go off data. It looked like he may not be the guy. So what's changed? What's clicked in your head, or what's clicked on the pitch for you to give you belief with Arteta and what he's doing?
I think that's a good question. I think really it's the consistency, you know, because I think like if we look at last season, we had good performances. Like we had really good performances where we just kind of pulled it out of the bag and it was like, wow, what a performance. But then this season, it's like every other performance is like that. You know, the things that we're doing, like the little things, the basic things, we've got them down. We're doing them really well and we're producing every single game. It's now that, you know, we had times last season where we were struggling to score goals, or even the season before that when we still had the likes of Aubameyang. We had like goal droughts in games. Now I don't expect to see Arsenal having those type of problems, and you know, I'm expecting to see quality goals. I'm expecting different people in the team to be contributing. So I think key word is consistency now.
I'm with you with that. Again, I hear you. And for a question for both of you, like, so what if we, because you lot mentioned title challenges, because you lot seem to know more than me about fighting for a title. If Arsenal don't win the title, like, is it a failure?
From this position, it's quite difficult to say yeah or no. You know, it's a hard
now
one.
He's being a politician, mate.
No. Listen, I was on AFTV yesterday and I was chatting with Laurie and someone said something and I was like, do you know what? It's hard to say it's not a bottle, because throughout the season, your objectives change. They change. And like, you know, I gave the example. If you go out and, you know, you meet somebody on that night out and you see them the whole night, and then you're like, like, I'm not really looking to grab a number or nothing like that. I'm just going out with the man, I'm going out with my girls or whatever it is to have a little nice night out. But when you're there, you're literally like halfway between getting a number and then like you don't secure the bag or nothing like that. It's like you can't kind of say one thing on one side and then one thing on another side. Yeah, it's a hard one. So I think it'll be hard to not look at it as being a bottle. But if you don't want any team kind of chasing you down, it's the Man City team, and I think the 08-09 team from Man United, when they, you know, had the likes of Berbatov, Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez, like that was a crazy team. And I think this Man City team is just relentless. So it's going to be difficult. So it's hard to say yes or no for me.
Shirley, what would you say?
I think I'm in the middle. Like I hear what Lee's saying, like about, you know, we get there, you want to finish the job, and if you don't finish the job, having come so far, you're going to think ultimately it's a failure. But going back to what I said at the start, like, if I'm honest, I would have bitten your hand off for third at the start. I think everyone would have,
or even fourth.
Right. If I'm being really real, after the heartbreak of, you know, back end of last season, if someone said, you know, you guys are going to get comfortably third, you're in the Champions League, you're right behind City and Liverpool, I would be like, yeah, cool. So when I look at that and then I see where we actually are, I have to take the progress from that. And you just can't ignore it, being first and keeping that consistency throughout the whole season. Pretty much we've been first from start to finish and start up until this point. So I don't know. I think it's 50-50. Like, yeah, in an ideal world, we'll see it through to the end. But even if we didn't win, like, we can't discount the progress.
I'm with you with that. I can't lie. I agree with both of you lot's comments. For me personally, if we are in a title challenge, it's an L, man. It is an L, because as Lee perfectly put, dynamics do change, goals do shift. And I know a lot of people try and belittle what Arsenal are doing and put it down to Chelsea are messing about, United are in the transitional period, etc., etc. That's nothing to do with Arsenal. I don't know how people use that, because do you want us to mess around like everybody else, or do you lot want us to do what we haven't done for years? And through us just simply from pre-season to now, just doing our jobs, we found ourselves in this talking point as what would happen in life. So for me, it would be an L personally, just as a selfish fan, because we ain't won one in our new stadium. Where it's not is like what you're both saying. You know, we would have bitten arms and limbs off for top four in the summer. Obviously, that was the goal in the summer. We're now in April, and it's probably in pull out of that. So that was the goal. If we can build on that, if we can accelerate this process, I'm all personally for it, really. I do think fans are being very premature, and mainly on those on Twitter, but actually it's a formality. 8 points can turn to 5 real quick. We are we're not the hunters. We're being...
Yeah, we're the hunted. Yeah.
You're hoping on that, really, because we got to go there. We got to go Newcastle. I'm sure you all saw the United game. No one wants to play Newcastle right now. And we have to play Liverpool on Sunday. So it's a techie one. Where are you lot at with Liverpool versus Arsenal? Because we ain't won there in 10, 11 years. It's a bit crazy at Anfield. I'm shook. I am shook. I know they're form.
Do you know what it is for me, yeah? And I don't know what you're going to think, Shirley, is. I'm with you. Like, I feel like people are literally like, yeah, we won the league already. And I'm like, Ain't you looking at like Holding? Ain't you looking at Holding playing now? Ain't you looking at like? Listen, forget even the big game.
About to
Forget
get
even the big games. Yeah, forget even the three main tricky ones right now, which are Liverpool, Man City, and Newcastle. The Chelsea game, all right, cool, they're dead, but like it's a London derby, and
it's a
anything
different
can happen,
dynamic
yeah?
now.
And a
You
new
think
manager,
about the
yeah.
Brighton game. Brighton are on something different this season, and I think about the record we've got against them. We ain't got a great record against them at home. Like it's really not like
Last
a
year we
formality.
lost.
Like I think also the fact that Nottingham Forest, when we play them, I think it's the penultimate game of the season, and they are going to be fighting. They're not going to give us nothing. So I'm just looking at it and I'm saying, look, we are a fantastic team, and you know, DG, I've been saying this for a while. I've been backing this team, and I've been really riding this
Yeah,
team.
you have.
People keep saying, "Oh yeah, like almost like yeah, we're gonna do it. It's a guarantee. Like oh, we're gonna win it by like 5 points." I'm like, bro, like where are you getting this from? Like, and then when I look at it, I'm like, hold on a second. So you're meaning to tell me that Man City are gonna drop all of these points, and we're just gonna keep winning and winning and winning? And listen, it could happen. I want it to happen, but the probability against the expectation, I just don't see that to be a formality, you know. So
I agree.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be hard. And you know, when people keep saying this whole, oh, we're 8 points clear, can you say we're 8 points clear with a game in hand? Can we give full context? Can we not just do that? Can we not keep saying we're 8 points clear? We're not.
And we have to play the very same team that were
That's my
fighting
point.
for this title away
That's my
from
point.
home as well.
My thing with Liverpool is, yeah, I'm like on the same page as Julie, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared because number one, the record at Anfield,
Exactly.
and I just don't think, even how good we're playing and how like Liverpool have not been the Liverpool that we know, we can't expect to walk into Anfield and it's kind of like, yeah, business as usual. It's not going to be one of those games. And I just think the way that Liverpool perform at Anfield against the big teams as well, if I'm going by that, then I'm expecting a really difficult game. And also, not that I don't have confidence in the team, but I just don't know. Like, I just don't feel comfortable or 100% confident having a Rob Holding in the back line going to Anfield. He's been great, you know, he's come in, he's performed great, but I just think about the North London derby from last season, you know, at their place, and Rob Holding was there, he was doing well as well, and he just done a madness, and then, you know, I think it just went mad. So for me, I'm just thinking, okay, I'm hoping, obviously this is a different Arsenal this season, it's a different team, we've really revved it up, but yeah, nightmares of last season are haunting me, I can't lie.
I'm with you, but if I play devil's advocate to you, like, all right, cool, we're still fighting for this league title, allegedly. Jesus has been injured, nketiah has been injured, Partey's been injured, Zinchenko's been injured, Saliba's been injured, and we've won the majority of our games, but we have slipped up. But generally, the talking points that have been there in August are now here. Are we potentially overblowing the point of Rob Holding playing? Because I don't believe we are, but at the same time, I think we are. I think with Rob Holding, to be fair to him, you know, he hasn't put a foot wrong yet. Obviously, if you're in the squad, Mikel Arteta has to take responsibility for any good or bad performances because he's bettered over his squad. Where I am a bit shook is we play a high line, you know, defensively, Holdings is going to be in problems. Obviously, on that, as a centre-back, you need to pull into wide areas. Rob Holding could be exposed there. But are we overdoing it then, potentially, with Rob Holding? Because there's other areas we could argue. Zinchenko, I want us to be confident against Liverpool and be on the front foot, but he might go walk about defensively, for example.
I
don't think so, to be honest. Just go on, Shirley. Sorry, go on.
No, I don't think that we are. I think that I think you can just see there's a level of kind of stability and a level of like Musa that you get when you see Gabriel and Saliba starting together in that back line. And when we don't, you know, Rob Holding, he's not a bad player, but I just think he's got some type of like mistakes in him that
he's got evident deficiencies, 100%.
That Saliba and Gabriel, they haven't really shown me. So I have to err on the side of caution when we're playing Rob Holding. It's not to say that, oh, Rob Holding's in the back line, we're going to lose. Absolutely not. But we have to be cautious. And I think just another thing on the point about Zinchenko, the type of player that he is and the way he plays, like he plays with a lot of freedom in that back line. And I just think the solidity of Gabriel and Saliba helps him to do that. But then,
yeah,
you know, Gabriel and Holding, I don't know if you can risk a free-flowing Zinchenko. I don't know. So that's just kind of where the concern comes from a little bit. But I think it's valid.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. Lee, what was you going to say?
Do you know what? It's hard, man. It's hard to think about it because, you know, we're thinking about this whole Rob Holding thing and the way Rob Holding plays. Let's forget the player for a second, just for a second, in the mistakes he's made. The way that he plays is so oxymoronic to the way that we play. And what I mean by that is he can't play the high line. He can't pass out from the back. He's not able to defend one-on-one. He's not Saliba in the way that he's got that presence to, you know, he's almost got that Van Dijk kind of aura around him where, you know, you're not going to outbeat him, you're not going to out
monster settings.
You can't kind of like, you know, get past him that easily. So I just think that way we build up is going to be dramatically changed, and the way that we play as a team is going to be so hindered with just this one player. So I mean, I wouldn't even play him, to be honest. You know my thoughts on him already. I don't trust him at all. Like,
but who plays then?
It's
not like we got Tomiyasu to go there. You move Benjamin White, who plays right back. You could go to.
I would somehow get Tierney in the team. I really would get Tierney.
Where though, bro?
Bro, I'll play him centre back, bro. I trust him more than I trust Rob Holding. Rob Holding, yeah. And again, I say it every single stream. Maya Angelou, bro, she's got the famous quote: "When someone shows you who they are, believe them." And he's shown me who he is. He's shit. He's crap. Why are we forgetting, like, all of a sudden, yeah, that 2 games against Crystal Palace and Leeds, he was fantastic. I remember his stats from the Crystal Palace game. He had a 91% pass rate. Like, yeah, it was fantastic. He made 11 clearances, fantastic. But he's crap. Let's keep it a buck, man. Like, he's not good. And listen, I'm not saying I'd play Tierney right centre back, but I would figure out a way to get him in that team. 100%.
Is that a back three for you then? Surely it has to be.
Yeah, I would change the team around a bit for him to get him in the team, you know, because I just don't trust Holding at all. I don't feel safe with him. Anytime I look at Holding, I'm like, yo, like, yeah, like, it's just dead. It's everything about it is dead, and it's not an agenda. I'm just saying, yo, like, people, can we not forget and do this revisionist history over like 2-3 games? Every Europa League game he's played, he looks basic. Every FA Cup game, he doesn't stand out. He doesn't even look like he's good against lower opposition. So now let's give the team credit and say, look, his base level is here and the team is up here. Like, it's mad, man. So when you're playing against the likes of Nunes and Gakpo and bloody Jota and bloody Firmino, who's going to be on the bench probably, and Salah, they're going to be like, ooh, Rob Holding, there's my breakfast, lunch and dinner. These men are fasting. They're not fasting anymore because the food's already on the table, and that table is the pitch. And Rob Holding is that deer in headlights. I'm about to run him over, and what I'm going to do, it's not good enough to run him over. I'm going to just reverse back over him, and I'm going to still get him, and I'm like, you know what I mean? For me, I can't stand Rob Holding. He's so poor, man. Yeah, it is what it is.
I'm not even being that harsh. I just think the level, like, I don't even think he's so poor. I just think the drop in level, like, you can see it, and I just don't feel like as comfortable and as secure with him in the back line. And I think what Lee said is key. Like, the way he plays, he does stand out like a sore thumb, to be honest. Like, he does the basics.
Sadly, yeah.
But I think when you put him in a situation where he's got to be really dynamic and he's in a high pressure situation, I just don't think he's cutting it. But this not bash Rob Holding day, but it just is what it is, man.
I mean, I'm gonna keep
and that's what Shirley's right. It's not bash Rob Holding day. It is what it is. Like in life, I'm lucky. I'm 6'3". It is what it is. I didn't ask for this. That's what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, certain men that are shorter than me, bro. Like, it is what it is. Rob Holding just ain't a good footballer. Like, it is what it is. Like, can we not like pretend that this guy is like some Houdini? He isn't Houdini. Like, what the hell is wrong with people, man? People are sitting here thinking, oh, like, yeah, we're all fine. Liverpool, this and that. Liverpool are crap. And I'm not saying we can't win, but don't downplay the fact that Saliba's not playing. That's all my thing is. Stop downplaying it like it's a big thing. So
I'm with you with that, man. I think, to be fair to Rob Holding, you're not the best of footballers, but I like you. You know, I'm gonna think positive. You know, the world doesn't want you to really play, myself included. If Saliba's fit, even half fit, you play, and he's able to get through the game. The one man whose decision it is to decide if you're playing or not is Arteta, and if he puts belief in you, all you need is his belief, God's belief, and yourself's belief, and you should be all right. In a nice way, I hope you're man of the match. Clearly, he's limited. You know, his best performances have been in the back three for our football club, excluding that time, I think, before he got injured against United, against Rashford a few years ago. And I don't really blame Rob Holding per se. As much as I like Mikel Arteta, and you never wanted to be in this scenario, since Arteta has come in, we've seen injuries. We've seen injuries at all clubs. Holding should never be in this scenario like last year where it's crunch time and we're having to rely on these players. So with me, it's not that I'm criticizing Holding or Arteta. I've not really got any expectations on Holding, so I can't have any disappointments. I'm concerned for him because naturally, if his teammates love him and protect him and know his deficiencies, you're going to have to tailor the way you play. You know, you're going to rob a bit of Partey, you're going to rob a bit of how Benjamin White plays, maybe potentially Xhaka, because we need to be we can't be susceptible to that counter attack. Liverpool got battered against City, but their two key chances they had, one they scored, it was against the run of play, exposing that high line. I want us to be a bit cute and clever, but we need to have that high line. As much as I'm nervous about Liverpool, personally, I think we need to be on the front foot as much as we've ever been. We cannot go there with a fear factor. We have to expect to concede, of course, but if we win our fine margins, we can do what we need to do. And that brings me to my next question for you lot. It's one where I wish we had 12 players. Do you start, front three for me? And I'm assuming for you lot, Jesus and Saka would be there, and it's give or take with Martinelli and Trossard. What would be your front three? And if it does come down to Trossard or Martinelli, which one do you two go for?
Shirley, do you want to go?
Why do you have to choose between Trossard and Martinelli? Because for me, I'm looking at this game and I know some people are probably going to be like, why are you not starting this person? But I'm starting Trossard like through the middle.
So what's your front three? Oh, you said false nine. He does do it at Anfield, to be honest.
Exactly. So I'm gonna ride on that and be like, okay, I know what you've done there before. Obviously, that fear factor of players going there doesn't affect him. We've seen him do it and deliver in that position in previous games. So I'm gonna go Trossard, Martinelli on the left and Saka on the right.
So why no Jesus then for you?
I honestly, it's kind of like neither like here nor there. If Jesus was starting, I would be happy. But sometimes I just think that Jesus, and obviously he got 2 goals in the last game, but I just think that sometimes he doesn't always deliver the final punch like that we need him to. Maybe he needs more time playing since he's been out for so long. But I think that having Jesus as like a player that connects all the play and like lets other players shine, brings them forward, that's good. But I don't know, I just feel like sometimes he's missing that little sting at the end, and this is a game where we can't let him, you can't afford to grow into the game. Like you need to be on it from the start. You have to start be missing 5-6 chances before you put one away, like what we've seen him do. Like I need you to be fearless, like how I've seen Trossard, and I need you to be putting away these chances. So like nothing against Jesus, I think either or, like if he starts, great, but yeah, I'm saying Trossard.
No, I think that's fair still. I think me personally, as I said, I wish I could start 12 players in it. Like I'm torn because Martinelli 9 times out of 10, and I hope this on Sunday is the same. He has a great game against Trent. You know, whether him or Martinelli, I want them to actually skin Trent alive, put him under pressure really. So Martinelli does his thing. Trossard has been a great signing. I just think Jesus has to start for me personally. Obviously, he's working his way back from injury. I don't know if he's actually got 90 minutes in the tank, but we bought Jesus for these games. Statistically, he does all right against Liverpool, but we bought him for these games. These are the games where you need to stand up to be counted. And I'm probably leaning towards, on my earlier stream, I said Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. Now, based on what you lot are saying, you've given me food for thought, because now I'm starting to believe, you know what, Trossard on the left, Jesus through the middle, Saka, I think we'll all agree will play on the right. I just think Martinelli, I wouldn't say he's more impactful than Trossard, because Trossard's shown that, but I'd rather Martinelli's youthful exuberance, 100 miles per hour sort of stuff off the bench, where Trossard, I want him to kind of grow into the game. But then again, you know, Trossard plays a lot more narrow than Martinelli. So if you've got Zinchenko going in midfield, Trossard going in midfield, that might lead to Trent being a tiny bit more adventurous on that right-hand side. And as we both know, one chance through the middle, Salah's in, isn't it, really? So it's one where I'm happy I'm not Mikel Arteta. Lee, where are you at with your front three?
I tell you why this is so hard, and I think this is probably one of the hardest decisions that he's going to have this season and in his managerial experience, because you think about if we don't start Martinelli and he comes on off the bench in the second half, let's say, it's hard because if Liverpool don't still have the high line, then he's going to have no space for him to run in behind, and he almost comes a little bit ineffective. Trossard, I actually believe when you look at his performances overall, he's better when he starts. But you also look at
that's fair.
Yeah, I think I know he came off the bench against Brentford and Man United, and did some really good stuff. But I feel like when he starts, he's a much better player than when he comes off the bench and has to get into the game. I don't feel like he's as effective. But then you also look at Jesus' record, and I think in 8 games he's got something like 6 goals and assists. I think four goals and like 2 assists or something like that. So he's or 6 goals, I think, or whatever it is, something like along those lines. So it's really, really hard. But I would probably go with Martinelli. He's got 6 goals in 6 games. You can't discredit that. You can't look at that.
How he never got nominated for Player of the Month.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Maybe you two know more than me, but
there you go. And I agree with you. I think Jesus has to start. He's a main number 9. He came in. He said he wanted to be the goal scorer for Arsenal. He's had the rest. He should be chomping at the bit. Against Liverpool for Man City, he's always been the main man on the right-hand side. He didn't play Mahrez. He didn't play anyone else. Foden at the time. He would always play Jesus. So I think he knows how to get goals against Man City, as I said. And I think Trossard is still that rotational player. As good as he is, he's still that rotational player. And it was unfortunate. If you think about Man City, they always have Bernardo on the bench. They had Sane on the bench. They had Sterling on the bench at times. And even though they might have scored the game before, they would still have to start on the bench because there were other options that were better in those games. So unfortunately, Trossard, I think, has to start on the bench. But I don't feel like any decision is a bad one. In truth, I really don't, because every single one of our goals, our goal scorers, are close to getting, I think, 10 plus goals. Jesus is on 7. Xhaka's on 7. Trossard is on 7 or 8, I believe. Saka's on 12. Martinelli's on like 12 or 13. You got Odegaard who's on 12, 13. So we've got so many goals in the team. So for me, I don't really feel like there's a bad starting 11 or front 3 or front 4, whatever you want to call it. But I would prefer to have Jesus starting because he's meant to be the goal scorer. He got 2 goals last week, and I think that's gonna keep him ready. Say, yo, like, I'm here and I'm gonna do this for the team.
I know Jesus' heat map, he's kind of scatty, he's all over the place. But another reason for why I think he needs to start is because Liverpool's defense is kind of shaky, and I think they're still good on the ball, and I think we need, at least initially, anyways. If like you said, Lee and Shirley, if whoever plays, I don't think there's a wrong decision really. We might say, wait, maybe this guy should have started or not, but I think it's all calm. For me, I think we need. I know he's not a traditional striker, but within this team, excluding Eddie, for what we've got this year, he's the closest thing we have to that. And I think we need that. I think Jesus will pull out to the left, pull out to the right, drop deep and things, but he will try and give the centre-backs a bit of a headache. Trossard, that's not really his game. He wants to play the 1-2s and things. So he's probably going to drop closer towards his teammates. And naturally, that's going to invite Liverpool to kind of have a go. I think Liverpool's back 5, including their keeper, they look the most shaky when they're under constant pressure. And if the game goes the way I want it to go, where we start confident, we have high periods of possession where it's all in their half, I don't want their fullbacks or their centre backs to be able to clear the ball really. And I think Jesus ties into that. If someone pins Trent, someone occupies the centre halves, Robertson's going to go and lead like he's been doing it on times this season, just running out of defence and leaving holes. That's where I think it's kind of won. Obviously, Trossard's been great since he's been here. As you said, 6 in 6 for Martinelli. They've got a good partnership. I just think it's the Brazilian thing, man. Like for me, Jesus, we bought you for this. We bought you for these moments. I can't even remember if he played against Liverpool in the first game. I think he did.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
Exactly. These are the games that we bought you for, innit? So I'm leaning towards that, man. But I do kind of think Trossard's got to start because of how good he is against Liverpool. And we've got 9 games left. We're at that point of the season where I want my experienced players to either continue doing what they're doing or stand up to be counted. So that's the Partey's, the Xhakas, Jesus, Zinchenko, etc., etc. I can't find the comment, but someone made an interesting point. I completely forgot he's an option. I know we're not probably going to not play 2 left-footed centre halves, but would you lot play Kyrgios instead of Rob Holding? Because for me, I'm probably going to keep Rob Holding for now in it.
Nah, I wouldn't. As I said, if it was anything, I would put Tierney centre back in somehow, some way. I would trust him on the left, and I would try and move Gabriel to the right. I know it's not conventional, but that's just how much I just don't trust Rob Holding in that game. And as we was talking about, I think the issue with a game like today is Liverpool have no midfield, so all they're gonna do is lump the ball to their front 3 and try and pin out. They're going to try and pin our defenders. So, Saliba would have been perfect for this game because he's a one-on-one demon. He's a one-on-one monster. So I think that's where the worry is, that they're going to just hoof the ball up to the likes of on the left-hand side to Rob Holding's side. And I think they're going to really try and target him. And I think that's where the problems are going to come from. So let's hope that he can stand up to the test. Like everyone, all of these people, I'm remembering names. Like all of these people, like, oh, Rob Holding. Why are you going to start Tierney? Are you going to make sure you DM me and make sure apology if he makes a mistake? Yeah, all of these people. Yeah, I want all of these people because I'm remembering names. Hugh, Jacobs, all of these. Yeah, I got receipts there, man. I've got receipts there, man.
And the nice way, I hope that's not what we have to discuss after the game, but we need them 3 points, man. Where you look at if we beat Liverpool? Like we can't, like you can see the fixtures. It's not over until it's over. But if we did beat Liverpool, where you look at with this potential title returning to North London, then does it give you an extra boost? Does it somewhat make you believe we've won it if you don't already? Where would you lot be at with that?
Do you know what? Yeah, interestingly, on this one, obviously Liverpool is a huge game, and some would even say like this game, if we get over the line on this one, what's stopping us really and truly from going on to secure it? But actually, for me personally, I'm looking at that City game with more importance, than of course, because it's like a 6-pointer. But I'm looking at us beating City as with more importance than us beating Liverpool on this occasion, because obviously we want to beat Liverpool, we want to break that hoodoo of not winning over there. But I just feel like we are not going to let City dunk on us 3 times in one season, because if that happens, when they're always going to be that team for us that we're
they got our number.
Yeah, they're always going to be that team for us that we're like, oh, it's them, they can beat us, blah, blah, blah. We've beaten Liverpool at home, and, we want to beat them at their place too. But for me, beating City, is that City game at the Etihad as well? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So for me, beating City at their place, if that happens, I'm saying, yeah, the title is ours. But if we beat Liverpool and we lose against City, I still don't know. So, yeah, I don't know. It's still up in the air for me. It's that City game for me.
That's where I'm kind of looking at it, because, again, I would love to win every game. Now that we've got 7 wins in a row, my target to Arsenal is, can we now make that 10 in a row in an ideal world? But I look at this fixture calendar list, and I don't know about you lot, but it's the home games that scare me. Broadly, everybody's still playing for something. Liverpool mathematically can still get Champions League, even though they've been terrible. West Ham, Wolves, Nottingham Forest, Southampton, obviously fighting to stay in the division. Chelsea are trying to claw back what they can this season. Brighton and Newcastle are pushing, more so Newcastle, but are pushing for Europa, Champions League, what have you. So everybody's still got things to play for. It's the home games. It's the teams that we should win in general that scare me. It's the home games. Ironically, I'm nervous. I'm shook for Liverpool, but I actually think we've been better away from home in a long while, and I think we're better away from home this season. At home our home fixtures are probably going to have the more, if we made a DVD of the season's highlights, probably going to have more games there. But I think we can see too many stupid goals at home. I think you look at the Liverpool game, you look at, to a degree, the Spurs game, you look at the United one, you look at Bournemouth. There's a lot of drama and things like that. So I'm actually relatively confident going to Anfield, going to the Etihad, going to St. James's, where you shouldn't really, you know, last year, forgive me if I'm wrong, you lot, but West Ham, we drew against them as well. It's these sort of things, because I think City are going to drop points, but I also think we're going to drop points. I think we could go on a run, but I also think City could go on a run. Where is it won or lost looking at the remaining fixtures for you lot? Like, away from obviously City and Liverpool, what fixtures that are in front of you lot on my screen that scare you? Because I'm looking at Brighton at home and I'm looking at St. James's Park in Newcastle away, if I'm honest, really.
I think, do you know what? Look, I think all of the games will scare you in some way because, listen, we went 2-0 down to Bournemouth. So that can, it shouldn't happen, but it could happen. I think the games that really scare me, I think the ones where, you know, the teams are fighting for something, and literally all of them are fighting for something. West Ham, you know, they're still in a precarious position at the bottom of the table. You've got Southampton. They're only 4 points off the drop zone. So, you know, you just never ever know. Like,
drop points in the reverse fixture early in the season as well.
Exactly that. You've got the Man City game, the Chelsea game, the Newcastle game. I don't even need to talk about that, and that's all in 1 week, right? Or well, no, it's not. It's all in
It's a quick turnaround.
No,
3 days between City and Chelsea, for example.
Yeah, it's the week after for the Newcastle game. The Brighton game is another one where I'm like, yeah, we know what's going on with that. And then obviously the Nottingham Forest game is spooky because obviously they're probably going to be in a situation where they need to get points.
Didn't they get points off City early in the season at their place?
Yeah, a 1-1 draw. I think last season, by the way, we beat West Ham both times. But yeah, Wolves again, like on the last day of the season, mate. Any donut that's going to spend that £55,000 I saw on a bloody ticket.
Oh, the tickets are like, oh my God, to say they're like gold is a joke.
Yo, boy, listen, give me that 55k. I'll flip that for you real quick.
I'll put half of that on 13 black and make a killing still. I can't lie to you, but like, oh man, I'm shook at all of them, man. I'm shook at all of them. I see one question about Zinchenko. Obviously, we've been focusing on holding. You know, it's probably going to be Zinchenko against Mohamed Salah and indirectly Gabriel. Does that concern you lot? For as much as we're going to talk about Zinchenko on the ball, in midfield, all of that, at some point he's going to have to defend. Are you lot potentially worried about that?
Yeah, that does worry me. Yeah, that concerns me because when I look, for me, like I keep saying, when I look at Zinchenko and the function that he has in our back line, when we have Ben White, Saliba and Gabriel, that's solid. Like Ben White, he's kind of like a free defender as well, where he can get forward, he makes overlapping runs as well, and then he does the defensive side really well as well. And like he's a solid right back, but then, and I think that allows Zinchenko to go and be creative and kind of just give us that touch and that, you know, extra like push from the back and kind of starting that play from the back. But I just think now with the back line not being as solid, I know we're going back to Holding, but with Holding being in there and then Zinchenko wanted to do his thing that he does it well, you know, he's all over the place, but that defensive side, it's being called upon now, and that's what and that's really the side that, you know, I don't have doubts that he can do it, but that's the side that I actually don't see him compared to the whole back line. I think that's like maybe his weakness, and he's a defender. That's crazy, but yeah,
that's true. He turned his back for the goal we conceded against Leeds, if I'm honest. But I do think, to be fair, there has been times I think Zinchenko has been spot on defensively. If I can remember correctly, I think Chelsea, again, different teams and whatnot, but I think Chelsea away, it was a thing like that. But then I look at the United game at Old Trafford where Zinchenko had a decent game, but defensively, I don't think he really realised what Anthony was on. And this is where you kind of wish you had Tomiyasu, whether it's going to be as a centre half, whether it's going to be as a right back to allow Ben White to go over there if that's what Arteta wanted, or like we saw in the fixture coming on Sunday where at the Emirates, Tomiyasu did a number on Salah. So I think Zinchenko's aware of it. I think all of the players will be bullish for it. I think all of them will know that we've got potentially a chance of a lifetime. We've got ourselves into a good scenario. It'd be a shame for it all to crumble at this moment in time. I got a question on my screen. Would you not take a draw if you was offered it right now? Can't lie, I'm taking it. I'm taking a draw. Live to fight.
Take it as well. I would take it as well.
The only reason why I would take it is when I was watching the Man City game, I was like, nah, I want to win. I need a win. Like I just felt we needed a win. And in hindsight, I wish I said that if that option was there to take a draw. Because it was 0-0. So it was 1-1 at half time, wasn't it? We got a penalty, didn't we? We did for Man City game. So yeah, like I would take a draw. I would take a draw right now. But you know what? I mean, I know we're not talking about it. I don't think we're going to lose against Man City. I really don't. For some weird reason, I don't feel like you lose 3 times against one team. But listen,
I've seen us do these things before, bro. I'll believe it when I see it, man. I kind of write off them fixtures.
But yeah, I mean, look, that could be my famous last words. So you know,
I don't know, man. Yeah, Shirley, what were you going to say? I think I cut you still.
No, for me, I'm taking the draw. And I can't even say why. I think it's just because I just don't want to lose. Like, I don't want to lose against them. I don't want to go to either Anfield or the Etihad and feel that pain of defeat again, like there, and it's almost like we can beat any other team, but then these two are like our big brothers. I don't want that. I don't want that anymore. Like, so I'd rather us, you know, I'm counting on Liverpool turning up and being the good Liverpool that plays against the big teams at home that we know. And if I'm counting on that, then I'm taking the draw.
This is where I'm at, really. Like, again, I hope Liverpool are the Liverpool that we've seen in the last few weeks, but you have to live to fight another day. We look at our last Premier League title. I know the dynamics in football has changed and all of that jazz, but there was plenty of, as great as the Invincibles were, there's plenty of draws. Sometimes you just have to live to fight another day. You know, I think if we could take 4 to 6 points between Liverpool and City, and in theory, you do your job in other games. You know, you hope that Liverpool are a bit complacent after beating Chelsea midweek. You hope City have a few injuries, God forbid. You know, I don't like to praise injury. You hope Newcastle United are kind of going away, and Spurs, that they've got, by the time we play them, they've got Champions League qualification. But the only motivation I think we need is ourselves. As you both have said, you know, we go into the Etihad. The last time we won, we had Francis Coquelin and Santi together. When last 10, 11 years when we last won at Anfield in the Prem. You know, there's kids that are Arsenal fans that have never, ever seen that. They've only seen that on Premier League years. Personally, I want the players to win at St. James's Park. Big up what Newcastle were doing. But that is one of the worst games for me last season because it was a bit... I think we were worse than United to a degree, you know, when they played Newcastle the other day, but it's like we were never in it from start to finish. And the only time I've seen that this season has been in that game at Goodison Park. So it's easier said than done. Lee, you've got a question on the screen. Lee, I've got a question for you. Don't you think it's a bit risky to play Tierney at centre-back in such an important game? Has he even played that position? Good question.
Listen. He has played that position. Many people don't know. I don't know why they don't believe me. I'm actually a quarter Scottish. I don't maybe not look it, but I watch Scotland.
Chatting, man.
I swear on my life. I'm being serious. I swear on my life.
Trying to be like the man that we start playing for Wales and Ireland.
No, I swear I could. I hate England. I never want England to do well, but like my granddad was Scottish. I swear that people just don't believe me. But yeah. Yo, man said about claiming fake territory, you know. Well, go ahead,
man, are doing the colonizing thing, man.
Listen. Unfortunately, bro, yeah, that's just the way of the world for me right now, bro. I got to face up to it. But you listen, I've seen him play there for Scotland, man, and he hasn't played in a back 2. He's played in a back 3. So I just believe I think he's a very good player. I think he's someone who I can depend on. I think he's someone who can, you know, turn up and do some good stuff. So yeah, listen, I really do think that he can play in a back 2/3. I'm not as worried as some of the other people. But listen, Rob Holding's gonna start. We can say what we want. I can say what I can want. I can prophesize what I want. We know what the team's gonna be. We can all guess the team now. We could have all guessed the team 3 weeks ago because in truth, Arteta's not gonna swap pretty much anyone. Maybe we spoke about the front 3 might be a discrepancy, but overall we know what the team's going to be, and it's just about the players turning up. And you know, I think Shirley spoke about it before. The players just can't get in their heads. You know, like they can't play the occasion. They just got to play the game, and hopefully it works out.
That's it as well. Like for me, the only thing that I could see going against us is these fine margins, because I do think there's been, and people on my chat always say I'm nitpicking, but you have to nitpick. The best managers nitpick. Pep, Arteta, them man are nitpicking and say we can go up levels. I look at the games where, our last 2 wins at home, we did great and stuff, but I'm not really focused on the fact that we got 3 points. We scored 4 goals. It's the goals we've conceded. It's how we've conceded them in general, because sometimes their margins go against you really and truly. So we're gonna Mr. Nicolas Pepe, his future we're subject to speculation. On paper, he's got another year at Arsenal. He's earlier in last week, he simply said, "I'm very happy at Nice. There are still 2 important months for the club. I want to focus on the last 2 months and rest. I don't know, there'll be discussions." He then went on to say, "I don't know what Arsenal want to do. I still have a lot of friends there. I could have been important for this club, but it's the manager's choices." What do you lot make of Nicolas Pepe? What do you make of them comments? And do you think there's a reality where he could have a future, even though the writing, in my opinion, is probably on the wall?
Nah, writing's on the wall, man. Let him go. He's got to go.
Fair enough. Shirley? She frozen? Or have I frozen?
I think she's frozen.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but I think anyway, I think
Pepe, everything about how she feels about Pepe, innit? But
yo, she ain't feeling the kid at all.
Yeah.
But no, I think Pepe, his time's come, and let's just let him go, man. Like he's not a bad player, of course not. He's not a bad player, but I think Arteta doesn't like him. He doesn't want him in the team. So sadly, he's got to go. I don't have any real bad. I think that even Amber Lee said it on the screen. Big up, shout out to you. I'm not like I haven't got any animosity against him. I'm not angry against him. I don't think he came here and didn't want to be here or try, but it's just he's not an Arsenal player, and it sometimes happens like that. It just didn't work out, and we've obviously shelled out £72 million. We're gonna have to try and get something back with 1 year left on the deal. But
sorry, guys, I don't know if you can hear
minor. We was waiting for, well, you left when we asked you your opinion on Nicolas Pepe.
I have something to say about this for sure. Sorry, my internet's under attack. Sorry, guys, but
minor.
Yeah, these comments actually really perplexed me when I saw them, because I was like, I don't know if I've got it wrong here, but he has had a few seasons to show us what he's about, in my opinion. So all of this, like, I could have been an important player. Yeah, you could have been. You were signed for, like, what was it, 72
million or something like that. We got fleeced.
Obviously, you could have been an important player. Yeah, so for me, like, after you've been at the club for 3 seasons, and he got enough game time, especially in his, like, first.
Yeah, he did. No. Hey, we all know he's attacking her internet then, man. It must be Nicolas Pepe.
Yo,
like,
Pepe
he's talking on my thing, yes?
Pepe is onto her, bro. Pepe's like, yo.
Pepe just like, wait.
Pepe said, yo, you will not talk bad on my name. Pepe said,
but Pepe is damaging your internet, man. He said, you're talking on me, yeah?
I don't know.
Pepe said, you can't walk wicked on me, You can't do it.
Pepe's onto me. He's onto me. But I just, personally, I just don't think he fits into the system. And I think I really started to see that last season, where it was just really anytime he played, we just really looked disjointed. So for me, I'd be happy if he was to go. Like, I don't think there's no bringing him back in. I don't see where he's going to fit in. And then also there's no need for another loan as well. I think we should try get what we can from him. We're going to take an L anyway. Take the L, use the money to put towards someone for this Champions League, because I don't really see it. I think it's done.
I'm with you with that, man. I think we're Pepe. I'm perplexed as well, because I don't think there's one singular reason as to why this didn't happen to him. I think, to be fair to Pepe, I think, he joined at the wrong sort of time. You weren't Arteta's player. The team was a bit of a mess. In the same way the team's kind of set up for everybody to thrive right now, it hasn't always been that. They're the luxuries I would have. And there was times, to be fair, under Mikel Arteta, Pepe, to me as an ignorant fan, you had Willian getting minutes, and I was thinking, whoa, why isn't Pepe starting? And maybe that's because Arteta's the one who brought in Willian. Arteta could have hid behind Pepe, weren't my guy, sort of that. And there was a time he was actually playing and thriving under Arteta. So I don't know what's actually gone wrong. In terms of natural ability, I think he's got some of the best of that in our squad if he was there now. But the problem is, it's not about that. It's how you apply. I don't think Arteta has ever been convinced, even though I think he looked a bit better as an all-rounder. I don't think, as much as it's about what you do at your best, I don't think, it's always that. I think it's what you do at your worst. And I think Martinelli, Trossard, Saka, they're all going to affect the game more than him without necessarily scoring or assisting. I think where the summer's concerned, I'll be keen to see, because I don't know if you remember last last summer. Edu sat there and said, anytime you've got a player around these ages earning big money, he's killing you. So are we going to rip up his deal and just, you know, take the L there? Are we going to loan him out to get a loan fee because we can't commit him somewhere permanently? Are we going to sell him for peanuts? Even if we sell him for peanuts with a year left on 140k, if you're Nice or anyone trying to buy him, are you going to undertake all of them wages necessarily, or are you going to try and play hardball because Arsenal's position's actually weak now? You know, again, Nelson's probably ahead of him in the pecking order in the sense of Nelson's at the club. He's not.
If he wants to secure an actual move instead of a loan and, you know, start a whole new, you know, chapter, no whole new life, he will go to a new club and accept lower wages. Like, he's a player where you can get him for 100k at a decent, reasonable club. Maybe not Nice, but at another club. And it just depends.
Somehow sell him to Everton, man. Somehow.
Yeah, listen. Listen. They may not even be the Premier League if things, you know, standing the way they are. So
big up Dice.
Yeah. So for me, look, I'm looking at it and I'm saying to people like, look, he's defensive, you know, now is horrible. His skill on the ball, he's got definitely some skill. He's got some, you know, half decent important goals for us as well. Some nice goals, some nice free kicks, Europa League, especially. But ultimately, he's flattered to deceive. Obviously, the 72 million pounds, that was definitely corruption with the previous regime at Arsenal.
They made peas off that, man. They made
110%. That was definitely dodgy. And yeah, you're right. We got fleeced. Like, we definitely got moved to. And listen, for me, I'm looking at it and I'm saying I would trust Saka any day of the week. I would trust Reece Nelson any day of the week over him. And listen, you know, Amenya and all of them, man, there. I know they want to. There's a list of players that I want to get rid of, bro. That's the Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Ainsley can't get a chance here because that's a good one. He can play inverted fullback.
Nah, all of these man. I'm saying, do you know what I'm saying? All of these man need to go. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Pepe, Mary's going because I think he's at Monza. And
that guy needs to go.
£5 million.
Energy for.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Rob Holding, I'm sorry, bro. You need to roll out too.
He's one of the lads, man. He's one of the lads.
I can see that Lee does not like Rob Holding at
Listen,
all.
man.
He don't like him at all, man. I don't know why.
Listen, man. After what he did to me, after what he did against Son last season, I was officially done with him. Officially done with him. There was nothing you can do. Listen, unless he scores a goal on Saturday, yo.
Don't forget the FA Cup final, though, man. He's better than Cannavaro, man. That's my guy.
When he had that monster performance in the FA Cup final, man had hair, bro. I don't want to talk about this no more, bro. Let's let it go. Let's let it go, bro. Like, come on, like stuff happens.
This guy,
please release me from the shackles of these dead players.
In him sometimes, but it is not consistent. It's nowhere near consistent enough for people to be putting their like faith in him. Like, to be honest, so
but it did only cost 2 million. He's cool around the squad.
You know what kills me about these? You know what kills me about Arsenal fans? Yeah, these people want to die on the hill of Rob Holding. You want to die on the hill of Ainsley Maitland-Niles, of Pepe. You want to die on it. Listen, I back Nketiah, and people are like, oh, like, but you want to slander Nketiah, but you want to back Rob Holding. I'm like, whoa, like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this? Some racial profiling? Like, what is this? Like, what are we doing here? Like, please talk to me. Somebody tell me what I'm doing wrong here. I'm talking about
all these guys, man. I can't lie.
I don't understand.
There's something likable about Holding. You're not very good, and I'm a hypocrite. And you could get sold, but if you stay out, it's kind of cool, man. I don't get twisted. I want another centre.
He's been at the club. He's been at the club for such a long time, and he's never been that guy. Like, really and truly,
apart from when he got injured against United, he's never. You're right. He's never been the guy.
Apart from when he pulls out a great performance at the World, not the World Cup, the FA Cup. Sorry, when he pulls out performances like that, yeah, you're like, oh, I remember this guy. He's got some talent in him. He's got some, some good use. But he's just never been like. You've been at the club for this long, and you've never been that guy.
Yeah, he's never done that. You're right.
For me, we've got to leave these like. We've got to leave that drop between our first team and then our squad players, that mad drop. We need to leave those days behind. Like, we're past those days now. Like, we're challenging for a title here. We can't be having our backup players like the fall being that mad where, the drop is just too noticeable and we have like a one-track pony compared to a Saliba. Like, that drop for me is just too crazy. So I think we need to just move on from those days. I'm not him to be sold, but if he does.
If we want to be a big club, a big team, who's Man City's Rob Holding? If we want to be a big club at their peak,
John Stones
who
or
was
Ake
Liverpool?
or one of them guys still.
There you go.
There's levels,
At
there's
their
levels.
peak, who was Liverpool's Rob Holding?
Probably
Joe
Gomez.
Gomez. And at their peak, he was still a good player. So for me, I'm
Fair.
now trying to raise the bar of level of Arsenal. The base level should be someone currently, dare I say, like a Reece Nelson, who can come in and, you know, is serviceable. El Nene is just about serviceable. Lokonga, he comes below that bar. Rob Holding, he comes below that bar.
I don't know for
Pepe,
Lokonga, man.
unfortunately, he comes below that bar. Ainsley Maitland-Niles comes below that bar. And Murray comes below that bar. These are the men that we need to get rid of.
And
I'm
the guy on the
sorry.
screen comes below that bar too.
Tavares
just about to
comes
argue
below
on
that
this.
bar. Cedric comes below that bar.
Yeah, could we have even dealt with Cedric? If we had Cedric right now,
Nah.
Benjamin goes
No.
centre back, Cedric's in the
No.
trenches.
No.
I don't know.
Nah, man. No.
You lot are
I'm
harsh.
done with these days. I'm done with those days. I am done with those days. Like,
I'm done with
what's
Cedric
the-
as well, but I have to be
This is what
devil's
I'm saying.
advocate here. Someone's gonna do it.
Fair enough.
What do you lot make of this? Because you kind
Someone
of
just said as well, yeah.
What do you say,
Jordan,
Gunter?
and again, like shout out to the comments. Jordan said, "Are we at our peak though?" Well, we're top of the league right now. I think we're currently
You speak
at
for
the
yourself,
peak
I
of
don't
the
look
Premier
at it.
League. And then what I'm moving on to that next season, we're going to be in the Champions League. So what do you want to do? Because we're not going to have Europa League games. We're not going to have, we're not going to have the time to be worrying about blooding in youngsters. We're going to have to be playing game in, game out, like, replacing quality with quality. And that's my whole point. Like, I don't understand like why people are scared to let go of, bad things in life. Like it's almost like that bloody, what was that Channel 4 show? Like the hoarders. Like you lot just buy one pair of trainers, you buy a vase, and then you buy another vase.
There's always
and then
an
you buy
emotional
another
It's like
attachment.
it's kind of like
Get
Tottenham,
rid.
kind of like they just be hoarding these meaty players, like just for the sake of having players.
Yeah, they're a meaty club, so it's a match made in heaven, really,
Yeah.
arguably.
So, but can we talk about this guy on the screen though?
Yeah, this is what I was trying to allude to. Apparently, I haven't got either of you lot's opinions, so I'd love to know what you lot feel. Nuno Tavares sent away from Marseille training over lack of effort. Nuno Tavares was kicked out of training with Marseille by coach Igor Tudor last week, according to report. Apparently, the Croatian manager told L'Equipe that a member of his team was sent back to the dressing room for a lack of effort. The French outlet has since reported that Tavares, who was on loan from Arsenal, was the player turned away from training. He was not the only one singled out, however, as Jonathan Klaus was given a hard time for his efforts in training. So, yeah, man, you lot take the floor with Tavares. Someone even said I slander Tavares, so they know my thoughts. I can't speak on Tavares no more. Shirley, Lee.
For me, this for me, when I saw this, I'm just like, it kind of put the nail in the coffin and solidified what I was already thinking about this guy. Because for me, like having him in last season, we saw like some spells. He definitely got the talent. He's definitely got ability. Like we saw.
You reckon he's got talent?
I do, but I just don't think that he was anywhere near ready for Arsenal.
You're not alone because his manager thinks he's good enough to play for Real Madrid, Barca, or City. He's currently.
Well, I don't know about all of that, but I just think that he's definitely got ability. Like he's got good pace, and there's things that he brings along that are good. But I just
can't be praising man for having pace.
I've got to praise him for something.
You're a professional footballer, man.
At the end of the day, like. I saw him last season. I just don't think he was ever ready to start or to be in a team for the Arsenal. Like he's not. And then when I see these comments from his coach or whatever, players not having the effort to, like not showing enough effort in training. These are things that we have eliminated from our club, like from our squad.
These are things Arteta's harsh on.
Arteta has ironed out these things. We don't have players. Like when I watch after match interviews, when I see these players on the training ground, when I see them how they play together, I know these players that we've got are putting everything into training. I don't doubt it. I know they're trying. So that's why even if we don't win, I'll be like, I won't even be mad because I know that they are trying. But it's this type of behavior that we have already ironed out of our club. We don't need it back in. We don't need a player that is going to turn up to training and get sent away for not trying hard. Like, what is that? So for
That's
me,
that's the problem, and you're right on that. Like that's the issue. Like you've got every reason, you know, you're rocking back up, whether he's going to be involved next season or not. You're rocking back up to Arsenal next season. So again, you know, you've got no reason in theory to really care about Marseille. But when you've got a reason not to care, someone's always watching. To be fair to Tavares, he has had some good games, even defensively, but they've not been there enough. Whenever people talk about Tavares, as you can see here, my man's been waffling about Real Madrid and Barca, but he said he has a high level of physical qualities. He has extraordinary explosiveness. That's cool. You're a fullback. You should have an engine. When he signed for our club, he spoke about shooting with his right foot. I think Tavares has talent, but he hasn't got a brain. If he had a brain, it'd be fine. And I think sometimes I'd love to be proven wrong, but I think sometimes in life, you just have to know things have gone wrong. Turn that 8 million we spent into 16. Some people say he could be a winger for us. And I hear it, but I don't hear it, because if you're now judging him as a winger, is he going to affect the game like Martinelli? No. Trossard? No. Saka? No. Anyone else there? No. Even if he forced it and say Jesus, is he going to play off the right wing? He loses the ball too much. He's not mature enough in the final third. You know, whether you're an attacker or a defender, as you can see, everybody has to do everything in this team. You know, our strikers are our first defenders. Ramsdale and that are our first attackers. I can't see a future for Tavares. I will issue a public apology on my YouTube channel if I ever see this with Tavares. But I think it's a myth. I can't see anything happening for him. Where you look at with this? Apparently, we've held talks over Yuri Telemans on the free. Is he the answer? Is he needed?
He ain't the answer for me.
Not for me. Not for me. I think.
Right.
I think. Look,
no love for Telemans.
You know what it is? I think the fact that it will do the same thing it did to me in January with the Caicedo and the Declan Rice thing. You know my thoughts on Declan Rice, but I would much prefer Declan Rice over Telemans. I think Telemans is
the same thing.
It's a shrewd signing. It's not the worst signing in the world, and I think he can, you know, he can do a Jorginho kind of thing. To be fair,
25 years of age,
but I'm just a little bit like over and out with that. Like, and it almost feels like every signing that we've gone past, you know, they've not worked out for whatever reason, and we've got someone who's, you know, been able to come in and do a good job. And yeah, listen, I'm kind of done with the whole Tielemans thing. Although I'm not saying he's crap. I still do think that we can, you know, for me, Caicedo is the one. I'll spend my whole budget on Caicedo, to be honest with you.
Swear. Shirley, Caicedo or Declan Rice, and your thoughts on Tielemans?
So yeah, Tielemans for me, I think that it's the ship has sailed. I think there was a time to get Tielemans, and that was last January. And
True.
when that time passed, like we got, you know, the season ended how it ended. I think the ship has sailed. On Rice or Caicedo, for me it's Caicedo. Declan Rice, like I think he's a good player, but I just think that he looks good because he plays in that West Ham team. I don't know if he comes into Arsenal and he is as effective as a Thomas Partey or, you know, someone like that in our team. I just don't know if he has that same like impact. And you know, so for me, I'm choosing Caicedo. I think he's got a higher ceiling than Rice as well.
Yeah.
And I just think Rice looks good because he's in the West Ham team. Like, I think he's a good player, but I think people gas him up and he looks better than probably what he can offer because of the team that he's in. Yeah, that's where I am on it.
I'm on the fence, man. I can't lie. I'm happy
as well, man.
Huh?
Shout out to Sheila. And I was saying, shout out to Sheila. Listen, I've been saying this, man. So I'm loving the fact that you're agreeing with me. But yeah.
Bro, I'm cool with either. With Caicedo, South American, hungry, wants generational wealth. You can see the man's a 6, and we've seen at the Emirates. With Declan Rice, I think he's a better player than people give him credit for. I think he's decent technically. I think we're trying to do this English thing. Obviously, I think you're more likely to fight Partey for a spot, but considering the Xhaka role, maybe there's several gears to Declan Rice's game that Arteta can unlock from him, maybe in that 8 role. And where it would probably lean to me is, it seems, again, we don't know what these media dons are really saying and what the club's really trying to do, but it seems like Arteta and Arsenal really want Declan Rice. They have an admiration for Caicedo. They tried to bring him, but it seems that they really want him. So if you really want him, I'm inclined to believe Arteta's got a plan. So lean towards that. And surely, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, I've learned in the past that when Arteta really wants someone, there's a reason. So
White and Ramsdale kind of showed that, really.
Yeah, and I was one of those people, like, when we were going all in for Ramsdale, I'm like, who's this guy? Why are we doing this? But, you know, I stand corrected. So with Rice, I'm thinking if Arteta's pushing, he must see where he fits in and where his qualities are gonna enhance this team. But just looking at the player, yeah, I'm saying Caicedo. But if we were to get Rice, it's not the end of the world. Like, I would trust in Arteta in that sense that he knows where he's gonna fit into the team. So I'm not against Rice. Like, it's just, who do I prefer? It would be Caicedo. But yeah.
Slightly, we need both, if I'm completely honest, or an 8 and a 6. I personally don't think it's either or. Like, my unpopular Arsenal opinion is I've got a lot of time for Thomas Partey and I've got a lot of time for Granit Xhaka. I do not want them sold. I want them to keep being used in the team. Like, you can never, experience in my opinion is overrated, but it can't be overstated. I do, however, feel that we need to address that midfield, really, because there's too many question marks. For as much as I like them to, like what Jorginho's brought, like the luxury of El Nene and anyone I've missed out, I think we need to replace both of those players or have those replacements to fight with them before it becomes evidently clear. With Granit Xhaka, it's just a case of, unfortunately, Xhaka, as great as you've been, if possible, upgrading and ultimately raising the floor. For me, with Partey, the quality isn't in question. Is you're contracted until 2025. You're approaching 30. That already is a decision to make. And also, as much as I like him, I'm pretty sure I could speak for both of you. You're never 100% convinced he's going to be 100% fit. We're always nervous when he goes to play for Ghana. He's had injuries as well. And we need him to be available. It's going to be Champions League next year. We can't rock up with certain things, respectfully to everyone at Arsenal.
Yeah, for me, I think like this Partey problem is one of our biggest problems. Like, this problem of what's going to happen if Partey is not fit. Like, for last season, it haunted me. This season, we got over the line. You know, I think he was only out for a few weeks actually this time.
Thank God he missed August, innit? And then every now and again he's been out, but we've got over it.
But I don't see why we should keep kind of towing on like, oh, is he going to be fit? Is he not going to be fit? What's going to happen? We just need someone solid in there that can come in and the level doesn't drop. Yeah, so that should be like, I think this summer, that should be one of our biggest like concerns, to be honest, to really address that Partey problem, because I don't think Jorginho's even cutting it, to be honest. He offers experience, but the quality of Thomas Partey is like, it's unmatched right now. Yeah, so we need to address that.
Amen. Like, you're not wrong, really. Me personally, in an ideal world, we get 2 midfielders, we get a right back that can do what Benjamin White does, and obviously if we find ourselves with injury, someone's there. I hope Tomiyasu's fit, because you'd be my centre half and you'd be bumped ahead of Rob Holding. But with Saliba's injury, it made me think, are we missing a trick potentially, not signing a right-sided centre-back that can just do a job and the quality isn't locked off? I would like someone a bit like Trossard that, if possible, can play across the front three, or I would like a right winger or a striker. I think there's a spot for another attacker, with the exception of maybe Balogun getting an opportunity. Yeah. Speaking of strikers, my last question before I let you lot go. We've been linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin again. Are you lot on that?
You know what? Let me say, right? It's hard. I'm not against it because I feel like it's a good option that is different to what we've got. It's just the player himself. He is stinky because he's never fit. But I do feel like with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it offers you something different. I'm not saying I want him. I'm not saying he's, top of my list, but we're not going to get Osimhen. Like, come on, let's be silly. Like, the fact of the matter is, he's never going to come to us. Yeah, he's never going to come to us. We already got Jesus, we already got Trossard, we already got nketiah, we already got Balogun as well. So I'm not saying that I want him, but it's almost like if we had a different option for certain games, I feel like there is a difference, because we can't always rely on, we can't always rely on, moments of brilliance from the likes of Trossards or the likes of Jesus. And, I don't feel like it's the worst option, but unfortunately for the player, he's just never fit. He's never ever fit. So that's why a lot of people are like, oh, Tony.
Love Tony, but too much peas.
Tony's not going to come and sit on the bench, man. He's not going to sit on the bench.
I think he would, I think he would.
I don't think so.
I think he would both. Like, realistically, apart from Man United, you go to Spurs, which isn't that much of a step up, really. You're not playing ahead of Kane. You might play with him. You're not playing ahead of him. Liverpool, you know what? You might be able to play at Liverpool, but there's bare front options. City, myth. Arsenal, you'd be fighting Jesus and things like that. But I think he would welcome a step up. Where, the betting stuff is concerned is a bit brazy, but I think he would. Now, you could be rightly, because as much as I say that, his England chances would be probably significantly less and whatnot. but there's enough game time. You've seen Nketiah get enough minutes. You know, there was a point where Nketiah and Jesus were both injured. And I think for what it's worth, Tony would kind of cook in this Arsenal team.
On this, guys,
he's nasty as well. Go on.
I had like, because I was going to ask you guys when we were talking about the type of players that we need to bring in the summer. And my question was, do we need another striker? And when I look at this, like, the argument of, okay, he's going to offer something different, I hear that because a lot of our forwards and the way we play, it's like, yeah, the 1-2, the linking up with each other and with other players.
The slick Wenger ball, technical settings.
Yeah, it's classic. But I do think that it would be nice if we had another striker that was just more direct, more of like an old school striker that's going to stay in that place, that's going to take on the defenders and bully them, and that's just going to be it. But at the same time, my question to you guys is like, I worry that might change our game a bit too much. I don't know, like, would that striker come in and fit into how we play? Because I don't know if it will impact our game too much.
I tell you why that option is needed, because there aren't many teams and many systems, and you even think about Pep, right? And the problem that you're looking at with Liverpool, this is a prime example. They haven't reinvented themselves. They've done the same thing over and over again for the last couple of seasons, whereas Man City have tried to change things a little bit. Now, the problem that we're going to have next season is everybody's going to have tape on us for the whole year of how to play against us. So going back to it, it's almost like unless we have that inventiveness, unless we have that little bit of guile that we've, had against the Leeds on Saturday, I feel it's a little bit more difficult to go into the next season and do exactly what we've done this season and expect the same results. It could happen, but teams just have too much tape on you. They have too much to say, we know how to stop you. So you will then start to realize that there's a lot of Newcastle performances, a lot of Brentford performances, and you're like, that's where the title slips. So
initially, even the Leeds game, first half an hour based on how they set up.
That's what I say, even on Saturday, yeah. So I just think that, like, for me, having another option, and it could be Balogun. I'm not saying it isn't. Listen, I said it the other 2-3 weeks ago.
Don't get me started on this Balogun thing, man.
I'm happy to keep him. I'm very happy. So for me, look, I just think there's another option that could be needed to, change the game a little bit. Like, I'm not saying it's this person, but someone like a Giroud as well, or some, that can
that sort of skill set.
That sort of skill set. So for me, I just think you have to try and reinvent the wheel a little bit. You think about the classic Sir Alex Ferguson teams. He almost always brought somebody in, even if they were big name Simon, even if they weren't going to start, just to keep people on their toes. We can't have a season where we're just, letting Saka just, ride the wave of his, like world-class status or whatever it is. I don't think that's enough. So that's why I think there's a couple of positions that we have to have something different. Get something different in. But I'm not saying it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but I'm not like overly worried with the idea of him. It's just that he's not fit.
But you don't think Balogun can be that? You don't think Balogun can be?
110%. 100%. Listen, I'm happy to keep all three. I was on this very show a couple of weeks ago where man would like, sell Balogun. I'm like, yo, what the hell? Like, nah. I want Eddie to stay as well. Like, but yeah, listen, I'm not saying no names, man.
Listen, personally, I want all the Haylanders to play. I kind of agree with Lee. I think, when it comes to Eddie and Balogun, it's always either or. I like one, so I can't like the other. And I think this season we've seen that there could have actually been game time for Jesus, Balogun, and Eddie at a point, really and truly, with injuries. Like, Eddie done well filling in for Jesus. Then he kind of struggled physically. Unfortunately, he's injured at the moment. And indirectly, you've seen Trossard come in and perform off the right, perform off the left at a period playing as a false nine. For me, unless we've scouted a striker like an Adebayor or a Giroud, been a bit cute and clever before they have an emergence, unless we're going to buy them guys or buy a household name, I don't want another striker, really. I'd lean towards a more Trossard-y sort of player with Saka. But if there is someone that's better than the Hayland boys, I'm sorry, but we've got to be cruel to be kind. And like Lee said earlier, I think there's a lot of games where we've obviously, even at Everton at home, we overcame it. But at a point, you're watching it, you're like, oh, imagine we could be a bit more direct. And as much as I like Jesus, he can play in other roles. if you get a lethal striker that's going to score goals, that's going to benefit us obviously one way. But they're marked men, they're marked guys, and that means other players could potentially ghost in and around these pockets, really and truly. And ultimately, goals win games, isn't it? Like, again, as much as I like what Saka is doing, not just last season but this year, I think it's fit Smith Rowe could do what he did last year again. And I hope, Martinelli, this is now you developing. The young players are always going to be subject to fluctuating performances and things. And big up Jesus and Eddie Nketiah because they've done well. Goals aren't necessarily the most important thing, in my opinion, to Arteta's game. But there has been times where you're looking at them like, could you get more? Could you be a bit more prolific? There's times where they're missing some chances. You're like, oh. And again, I like that we're sharing out the goals. Shout out to the players and Arteta again. But maybe if Saka wasn't fit and firing, if Martinelli wasn't fit and firing, if Odegaard and even Granit Xhaka weren't contributing, we might be looking at our strikers a bit differently, because as much as I like Jesus, he is our guy. That problem, and I know he got injured, but that problem still remains of goals. We all know the quality. It's goals. Do you have a strong catalogue of that? Hopefully by the end of the season he does. Next season, Jesus, I believe in you. You need to get 20 goals in the league minimum, and beyond that, really. I give Balogun an opportunity. And I'm not saying you lot or anyone in the comments, but people always behave like these players leave the club, go out on loan, come back, and they're just up the levels. They're world class. They're all of this. Balogun's going to have to go through tough moments. And really, it's probably going to be tough for Balogun, because initially you're probably going to be behind Martinelli / Trossard up front. You're going to be behind Jesus and Nketiah. And as you've seen with Nketiah, unless there's injuries, you're not going to get that sustained run. It's almost a double-edged sword in that you have to impact the games in the little minutes you get. But how many occasional cup games are there? How much can you really do in 5 minutes, 20 minutes, etc., etc.? So the dynamics are different. And a big if Arsenal were to sit there and say, you know what, there's an offer for Balogun that we can't reject. He's played about 10 times for this football club. His name's kind of hot. It's a means to an end. You know what, Balogun, we're going to sell you, sell on clause, buyback clause, all of that jazz. We're going to sign someone better. For what it's worth, I personally think Balogun will get a chance, but it's all assuming Balogun necessarily wants to sit and be patient, because the club in the Prem or elsewhere might sit there and say, you know, come join us for a year on loan and you can play some games. And that might not be the worst thing, because he'd be away from the Arsenal pressure. You're getting more minutes, which is currency and the most important thing to people of his age. As I said to Lee last time we spoke about it, for me, it's all about tying him down, because he's contracted until 2025. A year from now, let's just assume the next season comes and he does this again. You're going to be in a weaker negotiating spot. So let's protect our money, man. Really would be my thing.
Sometimes you can't always think about that, but yeah, you're right. I get it though.
You got to think about that, blood. You got to think about that, bro. I have to have foresight.
There's a lot
That's
of
why I
games
do
to
this.
be played though. Like next season, there's a lot of games. Like, you know, we had our trial with the being in Europe again this season, and then the cups as well. We know how we did there, but I think we need a Balogun. Like, I think Balogun should come in and be.
All right, cool, Shell. Let me ask you this
one.
Let me ask you this. All right, cool. You said there's games, and I believe you. I agree, there is games, right? Arteta went strong in the group stage, did he not? In the Europa group stage, he named a strong lineup.
Wait, against Sporting?
In general, okay, this whole Europa League campaign, especially focusing on the group, he named a strong lineup, right?
I think, bar one or two games.
All right, cool. That's one question. 9 times out of 10 this season, he's been naming the strongest 11 he can, right? All right, cool. How many cup games are we gonna get it from the first half of the season? There's about
I tell you why I disagree.
Not really there, is it? Really?
I tell you why I disagree, because one thing about Arteta, if you look at his first season to now, every single thing he's got better at. His rotation of subs, his managing of the squad. So I look at it and I'm like, yo, he's now gonna know and understand. He literally cannot keep playing the same players week in and week out. Of course, some of the players like Saka.
But surely you need to get out the group and to get to do what you're doing.
No, but what I'm saying is, I think
I'm not talking about squad depth and rotating. Of course, he's gonna have to be cute and clever a year from now.
Yes, so what I'm saying is
going to help Balogun.
So what I'm saying is, I feel like he will get game time. What Sheila is saying, I do agree. I do think he will get game time, and I'm saying the reason why is because I think Arteta is going to have to change and say, do you know what? There will 100%. Be some games where Jesus just will not start. And listen, we've had a really, really good run at in injuries this season. Next season is not going to be the same. So there's going to be minutes. There's going to be times where certain players are going to play, and there's going to be some games where we'll see an nketiah playing instead of someone like Balogun, or we'll see the likes of Jesus playing on the right and Saka won't play. On weekend, everyone was like, oh my God, Saka's not playing. Why? Okay, fine, he wasn't well, but he still put him on the bench.
You need to be cute and clever. But that's the thing. I'm more focusing on Balogun. How much are you going to improve? Now, he has to be sensible and know that, okay, this ain't Reams. I have to fight for my spot. I've almost started from zero. You should be more confident in your abilities. But yeah.
It should be like, I honestly, like, personally, I just don't think it should be. Obviously, we want Balogun to improve. It has to benefit him, you know, being in this situation. But at the same time, when he was here before, I don't think that he was unlocking his full potential. Like when he was here before he got sent off on loan, and now he's doing well on loan. But you need to come back, and you still need to, you're still on like a level playing field. You don't come back just because you come back on and had a good season on loan, and then you're gonna catapult to here. No, you come back and you go again. So I think that we need it to benefit Balogun, but he still has to show what he has to bring to this team. Because when he was starting and when he was playing, I think he played a couple cup games. One of them that we got like knocked out in.
Unfortunately, he was out of his depth them times, and he was
out of his depth. So he needs to come and show that he's actually at that level now as well. Because I don't think he's had enough time to show that. So I think if he comes back, he's on that level playing field. And he's done well on loan, but I just think he's had time to iron out his mistakes, perfect his game a bit more, you know what strengths that he's going to bring. And then he needs to show that if he comes back. I don't think, no one deserves anything, even if you're a product of Hayland and you've had a good loan spell. So I think he needs to prove it.
But that's my point, though. It's like there's a lot of people who are not watching him necessarily week in, week out, and just assume the man's going to turn up. Everything he touches turns to gold. As you know, experienced strikers go on a goal drought. Earlier this season, Kane was struggling. He was finished. He was that. Up until a few years ago, people used to say, you know what, Kane takes August off. So there's that level of scrutiny. I'm not saying anyone in the comments or you lot, but the people that like play Balogun, they're going to be the first to say we should have sold him. And we need to give him that healthy run of improvement. And kind of what I said earlier, goals are one thing. And for what it's worth, I want Balogun to be given an opportunity. It's all the other facets of playing up front, as you see Jesus doing, as you see nketiah adding to his game. So it all depends what level he's at there. I personally think you come back in pre-season, you have an honest conversation with Arteta, and you take it from there. If he says it's down to you, you start here, take your chances when given, perform in training, then fair play. But I do think Balogun is going to have to exercise a lot of patience. But our conversation is all built on the assumption that Balogun necessarily wants to sit and wait for Arsenal, which I think he does, because he does seem a bit of an attention seeker on social media, if I'm honest with you. He seems like he wants a chance. We hear that in his at his loan club in the dressing room, he's actually got his Arsenal shirt or something on his peg. So we'll have to see, man.
It seems very much like my business is not finished with Arsenal. That's the vibe he's giving. So
this is it.
Yeah,
this is it.
100.
Final question for you lot. Score predictions for Arsenal Liverpool on Sunday. I'm going 1-1. I'm the first to say I'm going 1-1. I'll take a point.
I said 2-1. 2-1 Arsenal.
I don't know. I don't know. Boy. I can't go against the team. Let me just say 2-2.
I don't know if my heart can take 4 goals across 90 minutes.
I know, no. I'll be very upset if we lost the game, though, and I'll be very upset if we go behind as well.
I'll be. Well, listen, it's been 10-11 years, isn't it? Like, you need to win there.
Predictions. So everyone's. I'm seeing 3-1 Arsenal.
Raw original was on to me earlier on with my takes, and now he's copying my scoreline. Yeah, all right. Say no more, Mr. Original 55 TV. All right.
You know, man. I let people know where they can find you on your social handles. People, all their information will be in the description once this video is done, anyways. But you might as well hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, listen, man. You can always. So go on, Sheila. Go on, son.
He's got no manners.
You actually keep calling me Sheila, and I was letting you slide, but now we've come into the end of this.
What? I thought you Sheila.
Damn.
You know, I couldn't hear. Why did you not stop me?
In-house.
No, I was just waiting for the right moment to get you. But no, it's fine. Yeah, for me, so my @name is on the screen. If like predominantly on Twitter, that's where you find me talking about Arsenal a lot. So yeah, follow me there. And obviously I share a lot about my writing there as well. So you can find out more about that there.
And obviously, I've just dropped her link into the chat. Gooner Lee's is there in the chat again. By the time this video is done, people, their information will be in the description. Appreciative to both of you lot of joining me. It's been a great chat. Hopefully, the next time we speak, we've actually won the game against Liverpool. It can't have been anything without the people in the comments. So we're gonna love and leave you lot, people. I'll be back at like 7:50. I'm gonna watch Chelsea Liverpool with you lot, or I'm aiming to. In it, I just gotta pop out right now, but. Yeah, we're out, man. As usual. Bless everyone. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Enjoy what's left of your morning, day, or afternoon. One love, man. Peace.
Bye.
There's always just that active red flag defenders. I think it's like. There's always just that active red flag defenders. I think it's like.